Alright, everyone on the low. Welcome to our 20th anniversary Monster Hunter Countdown. Up next, number 198, Stonefist Hermitaur. First appearance in Monster Hunter Generations, and I think, if not the first, pretty close to being the first deviant they let you fight. It's actually really funny. I mean, as soon as you get access to fighting him, you go in right away, you will probably get stomped. Not the easiest, not the hardest. Interesting mix. Interesting looking armor set. I feel like they kind of, at least on the female set, kind of leaned into kind of like a cheerleader sort of vibe. I mean, pretty much across the board, all of the deviant armor looks good. You know, it's a little reminiscent of that 3 Ultimate armor design, except maybe just like a little bit more stylized, even more so. Here are the weapons. Crazy. You get the little horn from the shell and like a shield on the dual blades. They're not great. I mean, they're probably not what you would use for your actual dual blades, but you know, if you're doing multiplayer or if you just got, you know, skills that pay the bills, you could use them, and they definitely do look good. I mean, all the deviant weapons, like if you are using like something like Striker or Alchemy, maybe Guild, they do give a 10% bonus to skill art gain, so maybe you'd want to use them. Armor set itself, a little bit on the defensive side. Base set gives you Crisis and Bubble. Crisis is the same thing as Resuscitate. It'll give you 20 True Raw if you're afflicted by some sort of an ailment. In this case, you also have Bubbly Dance, so evading enough times you'll be covered in bubbles, and that'll trigger the Resuscitate. The G-Rank set gives you Stonefist Soul X, gives you Razor Sharp, Recoil down +2, Divine Blessing, Constitution +1. I mean, again, feels a little bit defensive. If you had to make a side out of it, I guess gunning would kind of be the way to go, assuming you had a good enough talisman and maybe a gun that had enough slots in it to put in, I don't know, Pierce up, Normal up, something like that. So yeah, pretty good looking set. As for what we'll actually be using, we're going to be going with Valor dual blades. I am using a Thunder set because Thunder works really, really well on him. For the most part, with most weapons, at least when I did my EX clear, I mostly just target the legs. As soon as you break the legs, they are one of the better hit zones outside of the head. Anything else is kind of a little bit tricky to get to. The claws are a good hit zone as well, but if you could hit the claws, you could probably hit the head. Blast would also be an okay option. Using Blast and making sure you focus entirely on the legs until they break, I think would be valid, but I don't know. I feel like any sort of a longer fight, you'd be better served using the Thunder dual blades. When I fought the EX, by the end of it, I'd broken all of his legs. And to do that with Blast would be kind of annoying. So, what separates him from a normal Hermitaur is using, I mean, we're just going to call it his Stonefist. He gets a couple really, really strong hits. It actually kicks up some debris that almost works as a projectile in his favor. So either smart positioning or adept or valor or whatever it is you want to do, you want to make sure that you're at least aware of that attack most of the times. He does telegraph it pretty hard. Like, I know it's coming out right here, so I have plenty of time to do a valor evasion. The other big thing, and when I fought the EX, I actually brought combines for 30 Sonic Bombs. It's actually kind of funny. I didn't realize it. I had 10 Sonic Bombs, then I had 20 Gunpowder and 20 Screamer Sacks. That's what you could bring. In fact, I think I might have been able to bring more. Fortunately, I didn't need more than that. But I got really lucky in that encounter. He did that full guard a lot. It's a little tricky. A lot of times it's difficult to tell whether it's a full guard or not unless you're looking directly at him. So you always throw a Sonic Bomb, though. You will eventually get it more often than not. So even with normal weapons, because he's so big, I feel like unless he's tripped, you're still better off going for the legs because the body isn't that good of a hit zone. And if you break the legs enough, not only are they a better hit zone, they also, you know, make him trip more. So could always use that as an opportunity to hit another leg. You know, it's a little, and who knows when we're going to get to him. I don't know where he is exactly in the list. It's a little reminiscent of another crab that you fight, Shen Gaoren. Shen Gaoren's a little bit like that. You want to keep hitting the legs until you get a trip. Then you could also use that as an opportunity to get yet another trip. Or start building up trips. So occasionally he'll do this big horn attack that actually hits multiple times. So if you're doing some move that only blocks once, you will probably get hit by another component of it. Somebody asked me a question if the attack gets nerfed when you break the horn. I don't know, and I did not have enough time to test. All right, so there's our leg break. You know, it's not as significant as a trip as when you get in with a Sonic Bomb, but it's still pretty good. And the more and more often I'm doing these videos in Generations Ultimate, the more and more I am shown how Element, at least when you're fighting the Deviants, seems like really helpful. There's so many of these guys that just have like the absolute worst raw hit zones. So it's Dual Blades and Sword and Shield's paradise. Maybe bowguns do pretty well as well. Not that I really use bowguns that often anymore, but maybe one of these days I'll make an exception for elemental gunning. So here he is exhausted. He has to have one of the longest exhaust animations I've seen out of anything in this game. I don't know if tripping him here fully resets that animation. And he's just standing there. No, and now he's attacking me. Now he's standing there again. But yeah, he just like, he goes to town on that body. I will say, I feel bad for anyone watching this video really late at night. The elemental and crit effects in this game go really hard. No real way to tone them down either, unfortunately. Maybe in another 20 years when we get the 40th anniversary collection and we're able to play the old games on our Nintendo Switch too. I'm assuming they're going to be releasing games on a 20-year-old Android tablet. Wolf's Maw is really neat. Love that move on the dual blades. Choose through your sharpness, but man, it's so good for dealing extra elemental damage. I think it's like 30%. Get 30% more of your additional elemental damage. Plus whatever of the raw, I forget. In either case, it looks good, and it definitely feels good. Like, you feel the impact. So overall, I'd say pretty good fight. Probably the easiest. Only because, like, he already takes okay element, and then the legs give you so many trips, and the Sonic bombs give you so many trips. You know, I mean, Red Helm, and you know, Crystal Beard to an extent, too. It's just like, it doesn't matter how good you are. Like, they don't give you openings, and they take no damage. So, no matter what you do, it's going to be a slog, but this one actually goes by pretty quickly. Just kind of wish the gear was a little bit better. Oh well. Okay, Stonefist Claw Plus. A sharp claw from a Stonefist Hermitaur. It has grown hard and dark over its many years. Same thing. A very hard Stonefist Hermitaur shell. Stonefist Cortex. They didn't really break the mold with those item descriptions, but what are you going to do? Thank you, Stonefist. Up next! First appearance in Monster Hunter Rise. I should try and look up whatever yokai he's designed off of. Somnicanth. Number 197. Yeah, I'd look forward to that the next time. Thank you all for watching. I love you. Goodbye.